Okay, so let's actually go through the next one, which is perceived stress scale. So here what you are actually doing, you are actually calculating the stress level of a particular subject, right? So what are you actually calculating exact stress? No, you are calculating the perceived stress. Whose perception? The subject's own perception, how he or she is thinking about their own stress level. That's exactly what you are calculating. So it's not like you are actually calculating exact stress. So this is perceived stress, perception of that particular very subject that you are actually calculating. So you are going to give the questionnaire to the same person, whoever you are actually trying to calculate, and he or she is going to answer those particular questions. Based on that, you are going to actually understand how he or she is feeling about the stress, right? So the thing that to be underscored here is perceived stress. So when do you administer, pretty common when you want to understand what they actually think about their stress, you want to actually administer. Who developed it? Sheldon Cohen is the person who developed it. So how do you how so what is stress? It's like a feeling or an emotion or a physical tension that is there within within a particular person, right? So everybody understand what the stress is. What typically causes the stress? That feeling of frustration or anger or nervous. So anything that actually causes all these things invariably results into stress, right? So it is like a body's reaction when there is something which is challenging that actually happens. So is stress good or bad? So generally we think that stress is bad, but stress in a short period is good. It increases your performance. So all these anxiety, anger, every emotion that you actually exhibit does have a reason behind it. So body doesn't really generate these particular emotions just like that, right? So you can actually see there are certain videos which actually talks about what really how anxiety helps to solve certain things, right? So it's not that stress is bad always. Stress actually comes, it's actually a reaction which probably make you more effective when it comes to a very short period. But when it actually sustains for long, when you actually try to feel for long, that is when it actually turns out to be bad. Okay, so it's not that stress is always bad. When it is sustained, it is bad. Okay, so there are various remedies what exactly you can do. So there are certain therapies that could be possible to solve this stress. It all depends on the problem area that this the subject does have. So most common example therapy is that cognitive behavioral therapy that actually evaluates the thoughts, feelings, and all those stuff, and that is used to solve this particular threats, stress, right? So what it does is it's only actually check what those negative thoughts are, how to deal with them is the thing that would be taught about. So this therapy really concentrates on the thoughts, feelings, physical sensations, actions that are interconnected, and all those stuff, and it tells a way how to deal with those negative thoughts, right? So this is cognitive behavior therapy, which is like most common. So this is not the only therapy that is there for the stress. It all depends on the root cause of this stress for subject to subject. This is only an example. Okay, this is not one shot solution for all the stress related problems, no. So typically how this test is conducted? So there are around 10 questions. It takes around 5 to 10 minutes to answer those particular questions. So once you answer those questions, you evaluate the score, and then you compare the score with certain norms which are set, right? So for a particular age group, this is the common stress point that needs the stress level. For a particular gender, this would be a stress level, kind of, and there is a norm table. We'll go through that norm table. You compare your stress with that norm and then determine whether you have more stress or less stress. Okay, so one important aspect to remember here is this particular test is considered as temporal in nature. What it means is this test varies quite a lot. So if you are taking a test today, what it means is this stress level might not be valid for long. Situations might change, might improve, might become worse. So this validity of this particular scores are very less when compared to the other tests, right? When it comes to something like conflict management, your conflict management style might not change within few days, right? But your stress level might change. So this is very, very temporal in nature. You can't really take value which you have actually calculated 6 months back, and right now you can't say that this person is under stress. Okay, so these scores are very, very time sensitive in nature. So coming to the how exactly this is calculated, right? So as I said, there are around 10 questions. So you will have to answer those particular 10 questions from the score of 0 to 4. Okay, so 0 means never, 4 means very often. You're going to actually score it accordingly, and then you're going to calculate the sum, how much score you got. Okay, so few things which are going to be important here is the score is not like every question is positive. There are certain questions which are negative as well. So question number 4, question number 5, question number 7, question number 8. These questions you need to reverse the score. Okay, I'll tell you what reverse means. In question number 4, actual option that I chose is 1. Ideally speaking, I need to get 1 mark, right? But I need to actually reverse it. So that means my score here is 3. 4 minus 1 is my score. Similarly, for question number 5, 4 minus 2 is my score, 2. Question number 7, 4 minus 4 is 0. So that means my score is 0. Question number 8, 4 minus 3 is 1. So that my score is 1. Okay. This is only for these 4 questions, by the way. 4, 5, 7, 8. Okay. So these 10 questions, I need to calculate these scores in this way, add it. I got the sum. Now I got the sum. What it means is now I am going to interpret it, right? How I am going to interpret it? There is a norms table that I told. So depending on your age group, you are going to check what is the average score. So you are going to compare your score with this particular average score. Okay. So here the score I got is 15. Depending on my age group, the score needs to be 13. So what it means is my stress level is high. So I can actually do the comparison here with the gender as well. Okay, so in our experiment we did with the age group, but there is a norm for the gender. So you can say that among the males, so my stress level is high. You can say among my age group, my stress level is high. Among the race, my stress level is high. So you can actually talk about various other ways of doing it. So this is the norm table which you are going to compare against. So there are other points which are there in this norm table. What is this N? This N is the sample size. So basically person who actually calculated this average would have evaluated 926 males, and average reading that he got is 12.1. And the standard deviation is 5.9. Okay, so this you can actually connect back to the statistics. I'm not going to explain what the standard deviation and other things are. So what it means is this is the sample size this experimenter took and then came to this particular mean. So he evaluated around 645 people and he determined that average is 14.2. Okay, so you're going to compare with this particular average. So average score based on the norm is 13. My score is 15, hence interpretation is high. So I have high stress levels. That is exactly what it means. Okay. So any questions here? Any questions on perceived stress scale?
We are just adding the scores, right? We are not dividing it by 10.
No. You are not dividing it by 10. You are just adding the scores. Only aspect that you need to be careful about is there are some negative questions which you need to actually reverse the score.
Yeah.
Only 4 questions are negative questions which you need to reverse the score. Once you reverse the score, it is just matter of adding the score.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
So that is perceived stress scale, which is very, very easy. You are just determining whether your stress is up or not. The last one is case study, right? So here you are actually telling about, so there is a case study where there is a woman whose name is Preeti. Basically what happened is she joined a company. She's very happy with her job first, but later on there is one more person who is Raghav who joined, who seems to be very less experienced when compared to this girl, but his salary seems to be high. So she got to know that his salary is high, so immediately she became very sad, and her motivation level really came down, because now she thinks that she is being underpaid, even though her skill is much better than Raghav, who recently joined, but not really, but ultimately he's getting more salary. Right. So the way that it happens typically case is you're going to actually, first evaluate what is the case history. You're going to tell what exactly the things that are mentioned here, right? So basically whether she's married, gender, all those particular things. So this is like a history of that particular person, whatever that is, there as a case. And then when you talk to them, how exactly they appear. So appearance, how they appear, how their behavior is, what is the effect, right? So you are going to actually, this is just an observation. This is history of the case. This is an observation. So how they are speaking, how their thought content is, and all those stuff. Right. So basically here the problem that you have in hand is her motivation is actually having an issue. Her motivation is down. So she is not performing, like before. Why it happened? Because she compared with other employee. Till then she is fine, right? So here the aspect that kicked in was the social comparison. So there is a theory called as a social comparison theory, which is actually coming into picture here, where people are actually judging themselves based on the others. She is not actually seeing that her job, she was happy with that particular job before. No, she's not really, thinking like that. She became unhappy after comparing with so and so person. Right? It is like evaluating the self in relation to other. That is exactly what has happened here. Okay. So she compared herself with the junior employee, and then she became unhappy. So there are two ways that I think this is again going to end. I'm going to stop the steering and then restart again.